But like the media obviously being like, see, he's also senile is not the own you think it is. Here was another silly ass Brandon moment before we get to Biden holding an LA fundraiser, which Austin refused to go to. This is pretty cool. White House press secretary says videos of Biden lost and confused are deep
ironically,
fakes.
several recent deep fakes actually attack the president for thanking troops. For thanking troops. That is what they're attacking the president for. Both in Normandy, this happened, and again in Italy. And I think that it tells you everything that we need to know about how desperate Republicans are here. And instead of talking about the president's performance in office, and what I mean by that is his legislative wins, what he's been able to do for the American people across the country, we're seeing these deep fakes, these manipulated videos.
Bro, that's the worst possible thing you could say, because it's not a deep fake. Just say it's cut out of context. Like, it speaks to the desperation of the Republicans. You're going to have to say that, obviously, to make it seem like Biden is like older than he actually is, or his performance is bad because, and they're cutting videos out of context. That part is true. Okay. They are cutting videos out of context. Like the sit down video made it seem like he was shitting his pants, which he might have, who knows, but like that he was like looking for a seat that wasn't there. Why did it look like that? Well, because they cut it after he finds the seat and sits down alongside the rest of the leaders. Okay. The other one was like where he's looking at the wrong parachuter, where like everyone else is looking at the one guy that like basically lands in front of them, the one parachuter. He's looking at another guy going, and he just looks like shit. He looks old as you can't really fix that, but there's nothing you can do. They cut that also out of frame. They cut the other thing that he's looking at out of frame to make it seem like he's just looking at nothing. Obviously, him looking in that direction is still weird as and he still has the old man face. You can't really save that, where he just does this. You know, when you do that, it's just like you look like you're wandering off no matter what. You could be going in the right direction, and if you do this, if you do that, old man face, like ultimately, you know, good luck. Yeah, I mean, dude, yeah, this is a selfie that he took with Barack Obama. Look at his okay, look at this. Look alive. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing here? What the f*** is going on? All this is so much more intense without your facial hair. I know. This shit ain't AI generated. That shit's just how he looks. He can't help it. He's old as f***, bro. That's it. Okay, let's talk about Juneteenth. The president was there listening to music and he didn't dance. Excuse me. I did not know not dancing was a health issue.
That video was... Okay, let's talk about Juneteenth. The president stood there listening to the music and he didn't dance.
Bro, this is we are so cooked. We are so cooked. Okay. This part is pretty funny. This is from the Toilet Paper USA conference, I think, where Trump talks about acing his cognitive test, which I love. It's like saying you aced the ASVAB. Very cool, very funny stuff from Donald Trump. He's doing it again. He's doing it again, folks. He's doing the dang thing. Saying he aced his cognitive test is such a funny thing. Like such a funny line. But anyway, let's continue.
It's like what happened yesterday when Donald Trump was talking about his former White House physician, Ronnie Jackson, at an event in Michigan.
I think you should take a cognitive test like I did. I took a cognitive test and I aced it. Dr. Ronnie Johnson, does everyone know Ronnie Johnson, congressman from Texas? He was the White House doctor. And he said I was the healthiest president he feels in history. So I liked him very much.
So he called him Ronnie Johnson.
Yeah, I like this because he did fuck up his doctor's name, which is pretty funny, while talking about his mental competence. But like the media obviously being like, see, he's also senile is not the own you think it is. But anyway, let's continue.
It's Jackson, not the biggest mistake in the world, but of course he was talking about in the context of a cognitive test that he aced, and Joe Biden should too. Then he calls him Ronnie Johnson. That goes to the point of setting the bar very low that Biden may have to just step over that bar.
Right, and if that happens during the debate, no doubt the president will try and point that out to everyone. And within 10 minutes of the debate ending, it will be a campaign ad. The Biden campaign has started to hit back against this perception that the president isn't fit mentally to serve by highlighting all of these gaffes that Trump makes on the campaign trail. In that meeting with congressional leaders the other day, he said that Milwaukee was a horrible city. Quickly, people came out and basically said, well, he was talking about the crime rate, et cetera, et cetera. But
There was about 50 different explanations.
yeah, exactly. And everyone, it wasn't really a very smart thing to say when you're having a convention in Milwaukee and trying to win Wisconsin. That's the kind of thing Trump comes up with now and again.
Within the issue of cognition and cognitive ability that has been brought up with Trump and in some cases with Biden as well, how do voters feel about the particular issue?
Yeah, they feel that both of these guys are too old. A lot of the commentary has so far been on Biden's age being too old. But the fact is, according to the voters, both of these guys are too old. Yes, a higher percentage believe that Biden is too old to be president than Trump. You see,
I'm sorry, brother. That's 54 to 79. Like, they're both very old. This is correct. That's 25 points, man. That's 25 points. That's a quarter. That is an entire quarter more. That is insane. That's not like, oh, yeah, everybody thinks they're both old. No, the irony is that Donald Trump in a normal election cycle reads as very old, right? Especially now. The only person where he doesn't read as old against is Joe Biden. Like, that's the craziest consequence of this matchup is that if Joe Biden, for example, had like Bernie Sanders level of cognitive capabilities, and Bernie Sanders is older than both of them, I'm simply using like being old versus like how you present yourself, right? If Joe Biden wasn't constantly doing the old man face, like you could make the argument that like these guys are both old. Obviously, like Trump is even worse. See, he's got the Covfefe moments, right? Like, remember how much the media covered the Covfefe thing? How big a deal that was? That Donald Trump like typed Covfefe? What does it mean? Oh, what is happening? Like, Brandon has a Covfefe moment on a daily basis. All of that makes Trump look not as old in comparison because the person who he's going up against is demonstrably older than he is. Like, looks older than he is, acts older than he is.
My panel is back. Okay, what is your reaction to that?
Who among us?
I mean, look, of course, we all make mistakes. I make mistakes. But, you do it when you're ridiculing the cognitive ability of your opponent. That's different.
Yeah, that's certainly a fair point. But I do think honestly, the biggest test that we're going to see is this debate that's coming up, right? This is the earliest presidential debate, general election debate that we've ever seen, at least in modern memory, right? So in terms of cognitive test or whatnot, the proof is really going to be in how each candidate handles himself on that debate stage when they're contrasting ideas against each other and seeing who performs the best. So we're going to have a true test coming up in the next week or so.
No, I broadly agree with that. But I mean, look, the entire thing is preposterous. Like the fact that you have Donald Trump up here arguing, we should take a cognitive test. My dear friend, whose name I can't remember or accurately repeat while I'm trying to dunk on Joe Biden. I mean, it's just like it's embarrassing. Honestly, it's embarrassing. It also kind of shows the futility, I think, of this line of attack. I mean, people see Joe Biden. They saw him on the world stage. They saw him at the G7. You had the Chancellor of Germany talking about how sharp Biden is driving the allies forward as Russia is on the march. I mean, there are serious people attesting to Biden's capability in the job, and then you have Donald Trump up, arguing that they should take a cognitive test, and he can't even remember his doctor's name. So, it's embarrassing.
Bro, I'm sorry. This is like, how we talk about like Sean Hannity is like blowing bubbles on it whenever he talks about Donald Trump. How is this any different? She is gargling. Like, what the She's doing tricks on it. This is insane. Watch your words, Law. Bro, are you kidding me? Watch my words. This level of dick ride, I should be watching what I'm showing you. She said Joe Biden is, world leaders are constantly talking about how competent Joe Biden is, actually.
That was the doctor who signed his name to obvious lies about Trump's height and weight. We can all judge height and weight, anyone of us who's been to a county fair, and we can see that Donald Trump is not a prize heifer. but he signed his name. So it is amusing that Trump can't remember his name, but it's alarming what that person said. And when we play the clip, we have to have the context. That is not a person whose word you can take.
I mean, we'll see. I mean, it's all about expectation setting. And Trump.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but David Frum is right. He should be in prison. But this war criminal on this panel is 100% correct as far as like his analysis of the doctor. I hate that he's right, but he is. For this specific issue and this way of like criticizing Trump, he's like, yeah, dude, your doctor that you're bringing up, whose name you can't even remember, literally is like Dr. Feelgood. I hope that this will never happen again. I will never find myself saying David Frum was right.